What if I told you the Oakland Athletics out-hit the Mets tonight by exactly 2 hits, 13-11, and yet the New York Metropolitans come out today in their first game of a 10-game West Coast trip with a victory by the final score of 17-6. It is 1:14 a.m. Eastern time that I am covering this game. It went over 3 hours, the longest game the Mets have had by far this season. And of course, it is with their one-night game out of this 3-game set in Oakland. How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to try my absolute best to break down what was nothing short of a complete shit show in Oakland. Exactly why this team needs to be in Vegas with new ownership already. Vegas Aces has a nice ring to it. Again, I know I appreciate all diehard Oakland A's fans out there, and I feel terrible for you guys, but this is unbelievable. I mean, this is truly unbelievable. The game was enjoyable for the first 5 innings, and then it was a drag from there. You know it's a drag when you, as a fan, witness 17 walks, a new Mets club record, one shy of the MLB record, and I was fed up. I was completely fed up as we were halfway through this ball game and going forward. I mean, it was un-effing believable, and I appreciate all the people chiming in. Oh, is there no audio? No, audio's fine. What are you guys talking about? There's always one guy in the chat that says no audio or something. Okay, Alan, you're good. It always happens with one person, I feel like. But no less, guys, we're going to be breaking down everything that transpired in this 17-6 Mets victory here. And I know a lot of people are going to watch this on replay because a lot of people, rightfully so, are sleeping right now. So just the fact that we have at least 100 live concurrent viewers right now is beyond baffling to me. So shout out to every single one of you. I really appreciate it. 17 effing walks tonight. 17 walks tonight. We thought it was ridiculous when there was walks galore against Miami one of the games earlier this season, but 17 walks? It's hard to top that. It really is. This Oakland A's team, gotta give them credit. They came out today. That's all they did. They stepped on the field. The Mets would have had a better matchup tonight against a AAA club. I fully, wholeheartedly believe that with how much of a shit show this game was. The offense was unbelievable. Don't get me wrong. Talking about stat padding, tonight was a time to do it. Kodai Senga had his worst start in his young MLB career. Wasn't even terrible today. And you can't even blame the guy when you come out and you're having to throw bullpen mid-game because of how long the half inning is taking before you go back out there on the bump. It's a chilly night out there in Oakland. Just unbelievable. Jaw dropped on what I just witnessed, as it was for you guys too. So shout out to everyone here in the live chat. Greatly appreciate you guys as we're back at it with game. I want to say it's 15 on the air. I could be wrong. Whatever game it is for the Mets this year is our latest post-game show. I'm out of town, as you can see, but we still got the setup going. We're going to be breaking down this ball game here shortly. How's it going, Dave? Great member on the channel. James, great member. Sprite, great member. Gladiator, great member. Jose, great member. All you guys, A. Lavelle, Oscar, thank you so much for the $2 donation. I appreciate that a lot. SR, great member. Everyone chimed in live. Members, reoccurring viewers, thank you so much for being in here. But what's the raw reaction? That's what I want to know. What is the raw reaction to this ball game? Because this was uneffing believable. I'm at a loss for words. There was a point where I was ecstatic. I was laughing so hard that I was breaking a sweat from that and just joking around with my buddies, to then exhausted, to then waking up a little bit, and now I'm kind of in this phase where I know I'm going to probably pass out as soon as I'm done doing this show tonight, but I feel like I'm okay at the moment. And yeah, appreciate the compliment. Shout out to Athlete Logos. I'll probably tweet out a photo with the hat tomorrow. Love all the designs he does. You see the ghost fork that you saw fans lining up for the strikeout counter, and the security of the Oakland A's had the audacity to take away their strikeout counter of the ghost fork logo from some Mets fans there. I mean, you have, 10 fans at the stadium as is, and you feel the need to bother some? I mean, just go to Vegas. This is unbelievable. Actually unbelievable. But again, I don't mean that towards all the diehard Oakland A's fans, because you guys are truly OGs, and I feel terrible for you guys with what you're witnessing. But let's break down this ball game. Let's try to break it down. You're going to hear me say the word walk a lot. So if you guys would actually like to do a counter, let me know how many times I say walk. I don't think I'm going to say it a whole 17 times because I didn't count exactly every single walk in this matchup, but I did count quite a bit. I think I did count quite a bit. So let's just break down this ball game now, shall we? Again, love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to smash that like and subscribe button, especially if you're watching watching live. Appreciate you guys so much. People on replay, let me know your biggest takeaway from this Mets blowout victory in Oakland, 17-6 in the comments below. But without further ado, let's take a breath. And let's break down this shit show, shall we? Pardon the French, but I just got to say, and before I even do that, the offense began in AAA Syracuse today with Brett Baty, once again, another home run, 5 on the year, a grand effing salami, and he wouldn't be the only guy in the Mets organization hit a grand slam today. If you haven't watched the Mets ball game, make sure you get tuned up right now. Brett Baty, he has done more than everything to be on this Mets team. He leads all of AAA baseball in average exit velo with 100.4 entering today's game. I'm sure it didn't change much at all. Phenomenal outing. And Ronnie Mauricio said, how you doing? Give me reps in the outfield so I'm not just a trade piece, damn it. He had 3 doubles today and a home run. These AAA Mets, Syracuse Mets, are ridiculous. Every single game they are hitting nukes. Billy Epler was in attendance yesterday. I don't know if he was today for back-to-back days. But no less, it's time to bring, at minimum, Brett Baty up, and hopefully it happens soon, because I was just talking about it on SNY with Michelle Margot and Will Salmon. Make sure to check out all those clips for the debut episode of Mets Off Day Live, and it's unbelievable to me. Eddie got some RBIs today, but don't be fooled. If you watched the game, you know that mofo was stat padding right towards the end. He ripped a 2 RBI double off of a position player. You want a cookie? I'm sorry, Eddie. I love you, but you're going to have to do better than that to make sure that the Mets are going to stay committed to you at the third base position, because the times are coming, the times are changing, and it starts with Brett the effing Met. Now, with that being said, let's break down this ball game, and thank you guys for the kind words regarding the SNY segment. I really, really appreciate that. It's not going to be the last. I don't know exactly when I'll be back on doing stuff with them, but it seemed like everything went as great as humanly possible. And one last thing I want to say on this before breaking down the ball game, I cannot begin to tell you how much I appreciate every single clip, every single video of myself with SNY yesterday was just flooded with comments in the live stream, or for people on replay just spamming about me and just how much they were excited to see me on and how well they thought I did. So thank you guys so much for that. You have no idea how much that means to me. So trust me when I say it means the world. Really, really thank you so much, guys. God bless you all. But let's talk about this ball game now. I got to get into it because my goodness, my God, my gracious, was it something. Starling Marte gets a single in the first. Alonso with a single and then gets the second base. Nothing happens there. I almost tweeted out that I was frustrated in the first that the Mets didn't score in that position. You know, it ended up not mattering. So that's definitely a positive. Darren, my man, how are you, brother? I know that's early morning there in the UK, but it's better timing for you than it is for me right now. But again, appreciate you being in here, my man. Means a lot. Shout out to Darren, the best Mets fan you'll ever meet from the UK. But we get to the bottom of the first. Senga with a 1-2-3 and he one strikeout. How you doing? That's what we like to see from Kodai. Ghost Fork himself. And that one strikeout was with the Ghost Fork, if I'm not mistaken. In the second inning, this is where it begins. Vogelback with a walk. Guillorme with a walk. Nito with a walk. Bases loaded walks. Nimmo RBI walk. Marte RBI walk. 5 effing walks there in the second inning. And then with bases juiced still, Lindor says, goodbye. I'm going to rip my first grand salami of the year. And just like that, it's a 6-0 Mets lead in the top of the second inning. We get to the bottom of the second. Senga Ks 3 while stranding 2. Kodai single with 4 Ks through his first 2 innings. Mets up 6-zip just like that. And as we get to the third, Ruiz with a single, Kemp with a double play ball, Noda with a walk, Rooker with a bloop RBI single, Ramon Laureano, who's just waiting to get traded out of Oakland, still hasn't happened yet, with a single, and Peterson with a strikeout, and that'll do her there for the third. In the fourth, Nimmo with a single, Marte with a walk and a stolen base. Nothing else transpires, believe it or not. The Mets don't score a run in the fourth inning. I'm actually going to double check the stats right now to make sure of that. In the fourth inning, yeah, the Mets don't. The Oakland A's outscored the Mets there in that inning, believe it or not. But let's get into it. So we're in the fourth, in the bottom of the fourth now with 1 out. Capel with a single. Landon Lears with a 2-run ding-dong to left. Hits it off of Kodai Senga. And, you know, just like that, the A's are still in this ball game, right? Kemp then with a walk. Noda strikes out, but because it wasn't handled correctly by Nito lets a pass ball happen, and Noda gets on base. Thankfully, nothing else transpires in that. But, you know, the Mets are only up by like 3 runs at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still a ball game. There's still a ball game to be had here, or at least that's what we thought as we were just before that, right around the halfway mark of this ball game. As we then get to the 5th inning, Eduardo Escobar and Luis Gourmet do exactly, you guessed it, they walk. Tomas Nido did. What did he do? He walked. He didn't hit today. Nido continues to struggle with his at-bats. I mean, even against this A's team, he didn't look sharp. Nimmo with an RBI hit by pitch because, of course that happens, right? Lindor with a bases clearing double there in the 5th. Lindor's like, you know what? I already have 4 RBI stakes on the day. Let's add 7. And that's exactly why we're just going to cut away right now. And then we'll go back into breaking down the ball game. That's why he is the player of the game today. You're 2 for 5 with the bomb, the grand slammy no less, and a bases clearing double. 7 RBI stakes today. Guys, everyone in the live chat, please do me a favor and spam it in the chat. Let's get some Lindor hype. Absolutely killed it. I get it that it looked like he was facing farmers today that were pitchers, but it doesn't change the fact that he still stepped up, and we always appreciate that. Francisco Lindor with 7 RBIs, and for him to be on my So Rare team right now, I really, really appreciate that as well. So Lindor, shout out to you. What a monstrous day. I mean, how can he not be player of the game right now when you look at how type of outing that he had? A lot of Mets hit today, but no one did what Francisco Lindor did. Not only with a grand slam, but a bases clearing double. 2 extra base hits, 2 for 5 on the day, had at least 1 walk, if not 2. Absolutely love to see that. Frankie Cisco, my man, my shortstop, he is your player of the game. But now let's jump right back into it. Let's continue to break down this ball game because Lindor just really started to blow the doors open off, I should say, of the Oakland A's and this entire stadium as a whole. This will probably be the last time the Mets play in the Coliseum too. My reaction, that is good. That is my reaction to that. Should that be the case? Meaning this series, not necessarily this game because they still have 2 more games after this. But Lindor with the bases clearing double, Alonso with a walk, McNeil with a hit by pitch, and Vogie with an RBI ground out. Vogelback didn't do anything with the bat today either, but he still drove in a run or 2. In the bottom of the 5th, 2 outs. Diaz with a solo home run. Nagosic comes into the game then and escapes a bases-loaded jam that he helped create, unfortunately. Allowed 2 guys to get on. One was a hit. I don't know if the second one was a hit or a walk. Either way, bases loaded, 2 outs. He gets out of that jam. In the 6th, top of the 6th, we get to 2 outs. Brennan Nimmo with a double. Starly Marte drives him in with an RBI double himself. In the bottom of the 6th, Rooker with a solo home run. Nagosic exits after a comebacker hit him in like the lower back area. Hopefully he's okay. I'd imagine that he will be, but there's no need to take any risks. So then Dennis Santana comes in, and that'll do her then for the inning. In the 7th, Alonso with a single. He had 2 hits today. Didn't drive in any runs, if I'm not mistaken, but that's all right. In the bottom of the 7th, Kemp with an RBI sac fly off of Santana. Whoop-de-effing do. And then as we fast forward to the 9th, Jeurys Familia. Everyone's favorite former Met reliever, Jeurys Familia, walks the bases loaded in the 9th. We just want this ball game to get wrapped up and done with. But then you have Mets fans that are like, we want the MLB record of 18 walks in a game. And we got awfully close because Vogelback with an RBI walk. And then a position player comes in to throw for Oakland. Eduardo Escobar first pitch swinging, 2-run double there to left. It's just absolutely hilarious to me. Gourmet with an RBI single. And then Nido and Nimmo with the flyout respectively. Or Castro came in for Nimmo towards the end of the game. And then that'll do it. Mets had 17 effing walks today. Now a club record and 1 shy of the MLB record. You could say it's a little selfish for the A's to not give the Mets that 18th, but hey, it's neither here nor there. But with that being said, that does it for the ball game. John Kurz comes in. The only reason why Kurz pitched today is because they just want to get thrown. He hasn't thrown in a couple days just to be on schedule, and that was that. So that's your final, guys. I mean, Kodai Senga, again, when we look at the pitching stats for the Mets today, he wasn't overly sharp or anything of that nature, but he got the job done. And keep in mind, too, if you look at the stats, you're saying, oh, he really didn't look good today. And while his control wasn't great, and I will absolutely say this was his worst outing so far this year, if you keep in mind just how long his breaks were in between each half inning, you can really understand, especially a little chilly night there in Oakland, that it's not surprising that Kodai didn't necessarily have his sharpest stuff. And he's going to have extra days of rest going forward with the Mets expanding their rotation this West Coast trip to 6 arms. That is, in fact, why they are going to likely have a Jose Buto in that spot, if I'm not mistaken. We'll keep an eye on who that number 6 starter is going to be for the Mets during this West Coast trip. No less, Senga, 4.2 innings of 7 hit, 4 earned run ball on 7 strikeouts, a 3.38 ERA this year. Nagosic allowed 1 earned run at 2.84 ERA. Allowed 4 hits, 2 strikeouts. Curtis with that scoreless 9th only had himself a strikeout, 1.23 ERA on the year. Dennis Santana, again, another outing where he didn't look great at all, but he's just eating innings for the Mets, so it's not a biggie either. 2.1 innings of 2 hit ball, 1 earned run, and 2 strikeouts. And then as we get to the offense, this was ridiculous. And this is one thing that I will have fixed in the future, just not right now. How my stats are odd made is it's the final lineup. So not the guys that had all the at-bats. So like Castro, Pham, I will let you guys know how the stats exactly were for both Nimmo and Marte. But pardon me, not Nimmo and Marte. Marte and who was in left? Am I blanking? Marte in left. No, Marte in right. Who was in left? Why am I blanking today? It's basically 1:30 in the morning. I got to double check right now. Who was in left field today? Why am I blanking so bad? Marte was in. Was it McNeil? It was McNeil. McNeil shifted. That's why. McNeil went from corner outfield to the infield. My goodness. Okay. So Nimmo, 2 hits today. Had himself 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored, 4 at-bats. Alonso 2 for 4 today with a run scored. Vogelback, 2 RBIs today, still with no hits, 2 runs scored. Escobar, stat padding right towards the end against a position player. 2 RBIs himself. Gourmet, 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored in RBI, 3 walks. Look at the walks on this. Nito as well, 0 for 2 today, 2 runs scored. But if we look at the overall numbers, we talked about Lindor already, but let's also talk about Marte, who had a very, very nice day at the plate, which included the following. Marte went 2 for 3 today with 3 RBIs, 3 walks, 2 runs scored, and a double. And McNeil today was 0 for 4. It's nuts. McNeil somehow, someway managed not to get a hit today and only have 1 walk. The Mets, again, were walked 17 times today. Twice with Nimmo, 3 times with Marte, once with Lindor with his 7 RBI stakes then. Let's see, 2 with Alonso, 1 with McNeil, 2 with Vogelback, 1 with Eduardo Escobar, 3 with Luis Gourmet, his first 3 at-bats for walks, and then Nito, 2 as well. Just unbelievable what we witnessed tonight, guys. I do see a couple donations, so I am going to address those quick. But again, just continue to let me know your raw reactions to this game. Like, I'm not going to sit here. This is not a game worth yelling or screaming about. This was just an obnoxious, lopsided ball game where it was actually unbelievable. Truly unbelievable, if I'm being honest with you. Let's see. What's with all the spam on the different numbers? Oh, you guys are counting how many times I've said walks. Oh my God, that just may have made my night more than the game itself. I didn't think you guys were going to hold true with that. That is hilarious. Bravo. So we're at 29 on the WALK counter. That is hilarious. Thank you guys so much for that. That is something else. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Maury, what did the others do against the position pitcher? The same applies for anyone that did production. The same applies. I love Eddie. Here's the thing. I don't have anything personal against Eduardo, and I would like him on this team. I just don't want him as starting third baseman. I think he would be much better fit as starting DH/utility, and I don't think that's an outlandish thing to say, and I'm going to stand by that. I'm not saying that I want Eduardo off the team. I don't mean that at all. I truly don't. I think he still has some untapped potential, but I think it would be better suit if you have him and say it DH utility based on matchups on a daily basis while giving Beatty the bulk of reps at third base. Again, I don't think I'm in the minority with that belief either, so I'm going to stand by that. James, thank you for the donation. It says, hey, can we talk about Nimmo? What is his job? Getting on base. What did he do today? He got on base. Cue the clip from Moneyball with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill where, he's pointing at Jonah. He's like, he gets on base. There you go. Fitting that we're discussing that as they play the Oakland A's today, right? A. Lavelle, great member. Thank you so much for a donation. He says, what's up, WardyNYM? Hope you and your family are doing well. We're doing fantastic. Thank you so much. Hope the same for you. Congrats on being on SNY. Keep up the hard work, brother. Can't wait to see Mets beat the Reds in Cincy on May 9th. Let's go, Mets, baby. Hope you have a great time when you're in attendance there, and hopefully that exact assumption comes to fruition. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate the donation. The 17 on the 17 WALKs. I'm not gonna say it anymore because the counter can stop, but I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that's been following along. I really do. And once more, again, player of the game, this absolute beauty, Francisco Lindor. And this is not going to be a long stream tonight. As you can probably see, I'm absolutely beat. I'm exhausted. I got a long day tomorrow, too. Just so you guys know, I will likely not be live for tomorrow's game, but I will probably post a recap video after the game's conclusion. So no live show tomorrow. Sunday is a toss-up for a live show as well. We may do a podcast Sunday night. I'm really not sure, but tonight was the guaranteed show that we would be doing because this weekend will be hectic with my schedule. So keep an eye out. We will have content out the next 2 days, most likely. Just a matter of what type of form. So if I'm a betting man, I would have to say it's more on the pre-recorded video route on sharing my reaction from watching the game and just not having time to really prep and do the stuff that I normally do because I'll be out and about. Justin, thank you so much for that donation. Beatty, period. That's all that needs to be said. I love listening to Wardy having fun talking baseball. And I appreciate you chiming in and being a great support, James. Thank you so much for that. And I will be going to bed in a minute, but when the Mets win a blowout of 17-6, it's something that we do need to discuss for at least a couple minutes, right? Because this was an unbelievable game, a game that I'm happy that I watched, but when I tell you that I was absolutely shot by the time we were in that 5th, 6th inning, I can't emphasize that enough. It was truly a game where I was hoping that we would see at least one blowout in this 3-game set. And this is exactly what you want to do to this A's team. If you're going to do it to any team, like this is the most vulnerable team to do it to. We know that. And I feel for A's fans in that regard. I truly do. But for a Mets team that's trying to build confidence with their offense too. And Kodai Senga, again, if this was any other night, I mean, him giving up 4 over 4 could give him the loss because this offense, you don't necessarily know what to expect, but they took some positive waves from what was a nice grinded out series against the San Diego Padres into Oakland now and took care of business. So, I mean, anything less than a sweep will surely be a disappointment. We know that for certain. My biggest concern is when they face Sears to Sunday, because tomorrow the Mets will be facing Shintaro Fujinami. And for those that don't know who Shintaro Fujinami is, he is a towering right-hander with absolutely electric stuff. Nasty splitty, just like how we love Senga and his splitty, the ghost fork, if you will. Shintaro coming over from the MPB2. I was an advocate of the Mets taking a flyer on him in the offseason. They did not. He signed, I want to say, a 1-year, $8 million deal, 1 year, $6 million, somewhere in that range with the Oakland A's, or maybe it was more than one. I think it was one at minimum, obviously. But Fujinami, being a starter to begin the year, has gone anything but good. And he's a guy that's probably expected to be best as a high leverage, dominant reliever as his peak in his MLB career. So we'll see how Shintaro Fujinami goes tomorrow. As I say this, watch he go like at least 5 shutty. But he's been off to a really, really rough start. So I'm interested to see how erratic he's going to be. Because, again, we may have another situation where the A's are just beat up, walking galore again, and they don't have the pitching depth because of how much they've had to use as of late. I mean, they've just been dealing with so many lopsided games, and this is a situation with Fujinami off to such a rough start, facing Carrasco, no less, if I'm not mistaken. So Cookie, now's the time for Carrasco as well to really try to get himself on a groove here. If he wants to have a fighting chance to still be in this rotation and be respected once Justin Verlander returns before the month's end, he needs to start stepping up, and no better way to start to build that confidence and hopefully get some velo life on that fastball, grind out, actually go some innings this time, and be a usable and somewhat reliable pitcher. Do it tomorrow to start in Oakland. That's the best time to do it. And then the next time he'll be matched up will be more than likely in San Francisco. So hoping that is the case in regards to Carrasco. He definitely needs a solid outing. Tomorrow's his best chance of getting it just based on matchup alone. And for the Mets, we very well could see another big offensive showing. So it's definitely something to be keeping an eye on should you be watching the game tomorrow at around 4:07 p.m. Eastern time, as is Sunday's game. And Sunday's game is honestly the game, I'm happy that Mad Max is pitching, obviously, and I think he's going to have a great outing. But something about the youngster and JP Spears, who came over in the Frankie Montas trade last year, along with Ken Waldichuk, 2 really, really solid pitching prospects in that trade. Lopsided. The A's have won that easily with Montas, being out for the majority of the year already and just not looking sharp when he was playing last year for the Yankees as is. But just the fact that JP Spears is a southpaw alone, it concerns me because the Mets can be Jekyll and Hyde with lefties. So if there's one pitching matchup that I'm not looking forward to at this series, it shouldn't justify losing a game, but there's one where it wouldn't shock me if a starter comes out and maybe gives the Mets a little bit of an issue, a little bit of a run for their money. I'm betting on JP Sears this Sunday in the series finale matchup against Mad Max. So we will see how that matchup goes for sure. But no less, this is a series where if the Mets do not sweep, it will still be nothing short of a disappointment. Now's the time. They stat pad today. Hopefully we see more of that. Again, show no mercy. Show no mercy. You might have won a mercy roll today, but overall, show no mercy in this series. Do not let any games get close. And if you do, then at absolute minimum, make sure you win them. Jacob, thank you so much for becoming a new member on the channel. I greatly appreciate that. Let's get some love and hype in the chat to Jacob Lewis, a new member. And I still have to change the damn membership name. It should not say DeGoat. It should say Mad Max. I'm a schmuck and it hasn't changed yet. SR and schmuck. There you go right here. Not that I don't buy the Schmuck shirts anymore because we're not part of that network. But once we will have new merch rolling in, I'll tell you guys to buy merch again. We'll have new designs for Schmuck and other things. SR, A's should have got Mr. Met to pitch for them. I agree. He would have went 7 shutty against this Metropolitan team. That is for certain. Carrasco reaches DFA territory if he gets shelled tomorrow. Yeah, I think there is a possibility of that. But I think before they would get to that point, I think the Mets would heavily consider him in the pen. I would, because that's still a lot of money. I know that they've shown a willingness to cut ties with said dollars, with the Canoes of the world and others. But still, I think that there's still potential for Carrasco to have some type of impact on this team this year, absolutely. And I just hope that he can start to put his foot in the right direction tomorrow. I really do. And Carrasco's another guy that absolutely love him, great personality. We know his story and all he's done and all the adversity he's been through. But age is catching up to him. And the Mets are in a spot where they have the pitching depth once JV returns, where, Tyler McGill should be in this rotation. And he's, at minimum, my number 5 starter over Carrasco right now. So if you're a Cookie, you got to try to give your best foot forward and see if you can still make something out of this. So hopefully we see that tomorrow on his end. But yeah, if he gets absolutely shelled, then Mets have an even easier decision on their hands than what they currently do in figuring out this 5-man. And another reason why you still want to consider Cookie for right now is because the Mets are going to be doing a 6-man at parts this year. So even if Carrasco isn't sharp, he could be a guy that comes in as a multi-inning year potentially. Maybe that is a role that suits him best. Who knows? For all we know, maybe Carrasco could kind of be the Trevor Williams for the Mets at some point this season. Anything's possible on that front right now. But with that being said, guys, that is about going to wrap up the show. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. Mets win an absolutely lopsided victory today by a final score of 17-6. The Mets were hit today by the A's 13-11, and I'm going to double check right now to make sure I'm fact checking. 13-11. A's had an expected batting average of 321. The Mets had expected batting average of 249. So clearly they just got blue pits and luck. If you're Spencer Strider saying this, but in all seriousness, 17 walks, unbelievable. Game was ridiculous, and now I'm going to go and get some shut-eye and enjoy my Saturday. So everyone, have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. Have a fantastic weekend. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments below. For people on replay, thank you so much for the likes, the subscriptions, the endless support. Stay tuned for consistent Mets content